Welcome to Beyond the Chutes, is presented by Parasite Systems. My name is Doug Simcox. I'm your host of this show today, and we've got a very special short go. Now, a short go is that commuter size, that perfect 20 to 30 minute drive to work while you're listening to a great podcast size. It's the size of the M&Ms that you buy at your convenience store. If you check them out, you can see, especially the peanut M&Ms, it says right on the package, sharing size. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, all the major streaming services, and all you need to do is search for Beyond the Chutes and locate us. On each episode, you will see that there is a sharing button. If you click that, you can copy the link, you can text it to somebody, you can email to somebody, and on the other end, they simply click on that link, and they too can listen to this great show. And don't forget to check out our website, beyondthechutes.show. That's S-H-O-W. Now, in this short go episode, we had an opportunity to sit down with Josie Brewer, third generation Attica Rodeo Club member, the granddaughter of Dave Wheeler, one of the original founders, one of the original boys in the white shirt. We get to sit down with her. We get her memories about this great rodeo, which is celebrating its 66th year when it kicks off on Thursday, August 1st. And she shares some great cowgirl wisdom. We hope that you enjoy this short go episode with Miss Josie Brewer.
I've been around the Attica Rodeo basically ever since I literally could make memories. The stories that I've always been told is how my mom went into labor with me for qualifiers, so she missed qualifiers, and she also missed one of her cousin's weddings because I was busy making my appearance to the world. But literally the next week, I was at my very first rodeo because my mom was treasurer at the time. My dad was also helping out as well. So I've basically been there since I was a baby. My very first rodeo, I was riding a gray gelding, and he was kind of the first step to a step-up horse, I would say. And it was very funny because Sam Swearingen, I call him my Uncle Sam, he's basically watched me grow up down there and was always there whenever needed. So Thursday nights, basically, we would be practicing, but this gelding learned that I was starting to want to run. So he would do the entire pattern at a jog for me. But as soon as it came down to turning that third barrel, he would just take off and he would just run home. And so when my first rodeo came, that was the horse I was riding. And everyone knew what this horse did except Sam. And when it came to my turn in the arena, Gray was fantastic. He was set up properly. We rode past the bulls just fine. And he trotted around the first, trotted around the second, trotted halfway around the third, and as soon as we turned the backside, he booked it home. And the crowd went absolutely nuts. Everyone was laughing, including me in the saddle. But poor Sam thought the horse was running away with me, and he jumped down from the chutes to catch me and my horse. And I was so confused, but I was still so busy laughing that Sam actually was trying to catch my horse. And it wasn't until after the fact and I left the arena that my mom was like, no, that's what she does now. That's a thing. So that was just absolutely hilarious. He got so mad because nobody kept him in the loop about it. It was funny. So, and then after that, basically after that rodeo, the horse, he developed navicular. And even though he did try his hardest, he couldn't be ridden anymore. So he was just my little pasture pony whenever I wanted to jump on him. And unfortunately at that time, I didn't have a horse to ride. So my mom, being the gracious person that she is, she told me that I could start riding her mare. And this mare was like the end all be all to me because she was the mare that my mom like almost went pro on, and she was just like she was the best thing that we had in the pasture, and she was like gold to me. And so when my mom said, well, you can start riding Flash, I was like, what? Really? So Flash was always my babysitter until it got to the point where she was like, okay, kid, you're ready. Like, it's time to hang on. And so I was riding Flash for a season to where she would walk in the arena just fine, just like a normal horse, until rodeo, when she heard the music, she heard the crowd, and all of a sudden, this little babysitter horse that I had started to prance on me and dance and do all of the things that I would always watch my mom ride her and what she would do with my mom. And it was just the coolest feeling in the world to me that I was able to ride my mom's power horse in the arena. And she is the horse that literally taught me how to ride and ride properly, because she would get to the point where she would be like, nope, we're not babying you anymore. We're running. So I would ride that mare in grand entry every single time, and we would just be prancing away, and it would be the best feeling in the world. Down there is where I grew up for sure. And it's also where I broke out my first baby that my grandpa gave me when I was 14. Because my grandpa always had this tradition of when his girls turned 14, they got the papers to the horse that they were riding. Now, that didn't mean that they weren't for sale, but you at least got the papers to the horse that you were riding. But I already had the papers to the horse I was riding at the time. I was riding a mare named Star. And so he decided that it was time for me to get a baby for the first time. And so out of his stock, I was there for a weekend, and he walked in and he goes, all right, Joes, I got 2 babies out there. We need a halt to break them. Let's go. And when Grandpa says that, you say, yes, sir. And so we went out, halter broke the one. And he goes, do you like her? I said, yeah, I do. He goes, do you like her better than the other filly I got? I said, yeah, don't tell Grandma, but yeah, I do. And he goes, good, because that one's yours. So we've had a lot of time down at the rodeo grounds and like riding her and working her. And it was actually the first time my grandpa got to see me ride a bronc for the first time, because the mare is a good mare, except whenever we do something new. She would startle herself, she would go to bucking. And I was trying to get her to lope. We were loping in the arena, and all of a sudden her head disappeared and she started to buck, but I sat in my seat, and Grandpa just had this proud look on his face. So I've had a lot of memories, yes, of rodeo down there, but it's also a lot of memories of me just growing up in general down there too. That place is just a very special place to me, because it is where most of my childhood memories were made, between the friendships that I've made and the family that's not actually blood. I grew up with the band of kids of fosters, so like Luke and Tim. They're basically my non-biological brothers, Alicia and Brandy. They've watched me grow up, and they're basically my sisters down there. Everyone watches out for each other, which is just amazing. Because there was one night, as you get older and Mom starts to kind of loosen the reins a little bit, you get to wander around by yourself. You get the drunken cowboys and stuff like that down there. And we all watch out for each other to the point where, lo and behold, just comes with the territory. A drunken cowboy walked up to me, started talking to me, and Luke actually stepped in and was like, bruh, walk away, don't. So we all watch out for each other down there, and now it's gotten to the point where I'm watching their kids growing up, and we're watching everyone grow up and just watching out for each other, hanging out with each other. And it's a good break from reality in a way. Hell, I got a story for you about weather. I was a teenager, and it was always hit or miss. It would always rain on the corner. It would be pouring down rain, and it would be beautiful at the rodeo grounds, or vice versa. We would get dumped on, and it would just be sopping wet. And down on the corner, it would be dry. I just remember that distinctly. There was one year We were all watching the sky. We were watching the weather roll in. We're like, no, it'll hold off. It's the last show. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. When I say the heavens opened up, I have never experienced rain as heavy as that. And to the point where the parking lot absolutely flooded. I have never seen the stands clear out as quickly as they did. But, you know, the rodeo kept going on. The contestants are there. They paid their entry fees. They rode. So they rode and they competed even without an audience there in this downpour of rain and thunder. And it was one of the craziest experiences that I've ever had. And I've never had to walk back in water that came up to my ankles down there. I know that it's flooded down there a lot of times, but I've never been one to experience it until that day. And we were trying to get the horses on the trailer. Our trailer was stuck. We had to get pulled out, and the water was just like starting to grow, and it was up to my knees by the time that, because I was little, I'm a little person. It was up to my knees by the time we were able to get the horses onto the trailer. And then we were just floating out the driveway to try to get traction. It was one of the craziest things that I've ever seen. But the fact that I was like, why isn't everyone leaving? My mom was like, because they're still in the rodeo. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's insane. So that's probably one of the worst times that I've seen that place flooded, and one of the only times. I've definitely learned a lot of life lessons when it comes to the people that helped to raise me, the kids that I've literally grown up with. You learn that you have to work for what you want. It's not just going to be like, oh, you tried. It's okay. Here's this anyway. It's you tried. Make it this time. Next time, what are you going to do differently to achieve what you're trying to achieve? The amount of times, which is actually not that many, the amount of times that I have fallen, not just in that arena, but, you know, in my pasture or in another arena, if I've fallen off of the horse, I have it ingrained into my head that you don't let them do that to you. You get back on and you keep going. And there was one fall that I had a couple of years that it did not happen at Attica. It happened out in the southern tier. My mare went to bucking on me because she got startled, and she bucked me off. And I had multiple people saying, I think you should sit down. I think you should take a break. And I'm like, no, I'm going to ride my horse. And I stood up. I got back in the saddle. I went back in the arena after about 15 minutes, and I ran a beautiful run. So it's just because you get bucked off, just because you get knocked down, that's not the end of it. That's not the end of your story. That's not the end of the day. It's your choice at the end of the day to either keep going or sit down. Or it's your choice to listen to those people to say, no, you've done enough. Why don't you take a break? I didn't go out there to achieve getting bucked off of my mare. I went out there to run a pattern so that I could make moves towards finishing my mare. Me getting bucked off was just a little bump in the road. The fact that I chose to climb back into that saddle and we ran pretty much a good run to the point where I was only a couple of milliseconds off of the time that I ran at a rodeo, literally the week prior. That's what I want to achieve. I achieve consistency when it comes to not only my horse, but in my life as well. You learn to lean on those that are around you. And when you are having a down day, or if you're having an off day, you can lean on those people that are around you for support. Or when you have life events that take you by surprise that you're not expecting, that you have people around you to help you through it, and that you're not alone in this world. I hear so many people, well, you come into this world alone, you're going to leave this world alone. That's not true. Just because you leave this world alone, that doesn't mean that you don't have people by your side right up until the end. So you have to make a choice of, are you going to just be like, well, I'm alone in this world anyway, so what does it matter? Is that the path you're going to choose, or are you going to choose to surround yourself with the people that actually care about you and allow yourself to actually be helped when you need it? Some of the big lessons that I've learned is that you have to work and strive for what you want and accomplish, not only in the arena, but in life as well. And as well as leaning on your support system to help you achieve those goals. So like growing up down there, I knew I wanted to be a vet tech, but I never wanted to work for myself. Now, today, in this present time, I have 2 associate's degrees, 1 bachelor's degree, 1 licensure in my field. I have 2 certifications in my field, and I work at ARC Veterinary Hospital and Urgent Care out in Henrietta. With how our field is very backed up, unfortunately, turnover is high and not a lot of people are coming into our field. So general practice is very backed up. So we as an urgent care facility are able to see urgent care matters when your normal practitioner can't get you in. So we'll see lumps that suddenly show up. We'll see allergic reactions. I had a couple of dog fights come in and stuff like that. And everyone that I work with is amazing at what they do. And when you are coming in as an owner, panicked because you don't know what's going on, we are there to be your strong suit, and we're there to be the person that you need to lean on in your time of need. And everyone that I work with is very compassionate, not only towards the animal, because our passion is for the animals, but we're also with you and helping you understand and know that we're there for you and your pet, not just your pet. So my advice to a youngster would be to not give up. If there is something that you want in life, or if there's a goal that you want to achieve, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. If you want something bad enough, you need to understand that there are going to be those people in the world that are going to try to put you down. There are going to be obstacles that are going to get in your way. But if you know what you want to do and achieve as your end game, per se, if you know what you want to achieve, don't stop. Don't quit. There's a song that's basically become my anthem, that it's called There's Footprints on the Moon. Whether you believe that the moon landing was real or not, regardless, there are footprints on the moon, and they only got there because they didn't give up. I'm only where I am right now because I didn't listen to people when they were like, oh, that's going to take forever. That's going to take forever. And yes, there are going to be things that you have to prioritize in order to get where you want to go. I've had to prioritize work versus play, and that's not always a fun choice, but it's a choice that I make because I know that once I reach that end game, I can play for as long as I want to. And I put in the work now versus when I get to the end and I have to continue to do all of the work and I can't enjoy what I've accomplished. And I want people to be able to enjoy my life and enjoy what their accomplishments are versus worrying about their next steps. So choose an end goal one day at a time and what you want to accomplish in that day. And once you accomplish it, take a moment and just be proud of yourself and enjoy what you've accomplished in that day, in that month, or even in that year. My name is Josie Brewer, and I live in Castile, New York.
We hope that you enjoyed this Short Go episode with Josie Brewer. If you do, please share it with your friends. To make your listening easier, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. Search for Beyond the Chutes and subscribe. Like us, rate us, give us comments. Let us hear from you. If you like reels, we got reels. Check out our Beyond the Chutes Facebook page and click and follow. And we'd like to say thank you to Parasite Systems for their support with our podcast. Parasite System is a push-button parasitic diagnostic system for pasture animals, horses, cattle, goats, sheep, chickens, and for your companion animals, your dogs and your cats. You can find them at parasitesystems.com. And we've got a coupon code for mail-in testing for your horses, for your animals. It is BTC023 for 50% off your mail-in testing. Remember, as you drive these rodeo miles, your horses are behind you riding, every one of them as well. We want to keep them healthy. Find them at Parasite, S-I-G-H-T, parasitesystems.com. And a big thank you to the IRA Project Facebook group for all their help and guidance. This is Beyond the Chutes with Josie Brewer. Until next time, this is Doug Simcox. Thank you for listening.